Echoes of Wisdom has been praised for a lot of things, and rightly so, because it's a great game, but one very pleasant surprise that has gone under the radar a bit is the enemy diversity in the game. And while some of them are series mainstays, others are some truly deep cuts. Grezzo didn't just go for the big names and call it a day. In fact, I'm willing to bet there are some enemies in this game who you didn't even realize aren't new, that have appeared in the Zelda series before. Which is why I want to go through every single enemy in this game and discuss their history in the series. As such, if you don't want to be spoiled on enemies you might find in your journey through Hyrule, this is your final warning. With that said, let's get this thing rolling with one of the enemies that inspired this video, the Aroroda. Commonly found in the Desert of Echoes of Wisdom, they're the one-eyed scorpions that are often fought during the Gerudo segment of the game. Now, enemies similar to these creatures have featured quite often in the series. The whole arachnid desert bug is hardly new, but for the actual Aroroda, this is the first appearance in the Zelda series in nearly 30 years. Their only ever appearance was in Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, where they did admittedly function completely differently. They would shoot fireballs out of their tail, and could only be damaged when their eye was open, both of which are not the case in Echoes of Wisdom. This version of the Aroroda is more similar in everything but name and design to the Araka from Skyward Sword, which were also one-eyed desert scorpions. A similar but slightly more common creature is the beetle, which in Echoes of Wisdom is most useful via the beetle mounts that infinitely spawn them. They used to be a mainstay in top-down Zeldas, appearing in Link's Awakening, both Oracle titles and the Minish Cap, but since their last title in GBA, they have been mostly absent. Their behavior in Echoes of Wisdom is basically lifted directly from Link's Awakening, where they would too infinitely spawn from a hole near Canaleth Castle. Hoarders also appear in the game as enemies of the creepy crawly variety, but that wasn't always the case. In the first few appearances, they resembled the Mario series' beetles, but ever since Link's Awakening on the Switch, their design is more insectoid. Interestingly enough though, they were initially harmless in A Link to the Past, before becoming more hostile in Link's Awakening, the Oracle games and the Minish Cap. Just like beetles, they didn't make a single appearance in between the Minish Cap and Echoes of Wisdom, and even had their entire purpose changed. Previously, they would hide under bushes and rocks, but in Echoes of Wisdom, they disguised themselves using the fungi on their back. For the next little segment, I want to take a look at some enemies that are just straight up real life animals. Like the crow, which loves attacking you, but loves rupees even more. Crows have a bit of a weird history in the series, because they were originally enemies in a similar fashion to Echoes of Wisdom in basically all top-down titles, but in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they were relegated to simply being an animal. Something quite similar befell the wolf, which is an animal in those two titles, but has also appeared in other games as an enemy known as the Wolfos. These might not be super unknown due to appearing in both Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, but Echoes of Wisdom is actually only the third Zelda game they ever appear in. White Wolfos have also made appearances in Twilight Princess and Spirit Tracks though. The latter's ability to summon regular Wolfos is unique to Echoes of Wisdom. Sand crabs can mostly be found around the Jabal Water section of Hyrule, and used to be quite prominent in top-down Zeldas. A Link to the Past, Link's Awakening and the Oracle games all featured them, but then it suddenly became quiet, until A Link Between Worlds suddenly brought them back, which they have now followed up with an appearance in the latest top-down Zelda. That said, they have definitely been more threatening than they are in Echoes. They've lost quite some speed over the years. They're still faster than sea urchins though, because these spiky balls don't move at all. These urchins are also the only enemy that appears in Echoes of Wisdom that has a history with the Mario series, as many enemies in Link's Awakening did. They appear as hazards in both Mario Maker titles, and in the Zelda franchise made another appearance in Four Swords Adventures, but have not been common at all. We stay with a water-based animalistic enemy to look at the piranha, which honestly feels a lot more common than it actually is. Actual piranhas that live in water have previously only appeared in Link's Awakening, Four Swords and Oracle of Seasons, which actually makes them quite rare. Their sand-based variant, the appropriately titled Sand Piranha, is one of the new enemies added in Echoes of Wisdom, which might make this a good moment for a quick lightning round past the newly added enemies in Echoes of Wisdom. Since all of them have no history, there's not a ton to be said about them after all. The Albatross is a new bird-like enemy found across the Zoras Sea. Just like crows, they dive down from the air, but unlike crows, can also handle water. Another new bird is the beacon, a colorful creature that calls for other enemies to do its bidding. Chomp fins are large shark creatures that are probably the strongest creature found in Hyrule's waters, and for water combat, the best echo in the game. Coromodillos are found at 2 levels and roll into a ball to attack. They're pretty common, I'm sure you've seen them around. 3 new frog-like enemies were also added, the pair of Ribbitune and Drippitune and the Tornado. The first sings a song that lures in enemies, and the second can summon rain with its croaking. The third is a frog stuck in a tornado, which throws enemies and Zelda high up in the air when they make contact. Gust Masters may look like devices, but they're actually creatures that create gusts of wind every so often. Hole Meals are these cute little mole dudes that function similar to shovels from previous games, allowing you to dig holes. While Snowmalls are not exactly Mario enemies like the sea urchin are, they are quite clearly based on Pokies, prominent desert cacti enemies, except now with a snow variant. Platbooms are also similar to Thwomps from Super Mario, in the sense that they come crashing down the moment they spot someone beneath them. While spider-like enemies are far from uncommon in the Zelda series, both Strantulas and Crawltulas are new addition to the family tree. They respectively create strings from the ceiling and crawl onto walls, making them quite useful echoes for traversal. A type of enemy that doesn't feel new at all, but actually is the Tweelus. These little rock guys are almost in everything the same as the Peblets from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, but they aren't considered the same enemy. Similarly, dragonflies have also often appeared in the Zelda franchise, but never before were they enemies. Until now, as the Needlefly is introduced in Echoes of Wisdom, being essentially a large dragonfly. The fish enemy known as the Tangler is also a new, albeit unremarkable addition. Furthermore, the game also introduces new variants for enemies that have appeared before. The first example of this is the new Freeze Slug, which is the ice-cold alternative of the Torch Slug, which previously appeared in Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess. What is unique about its last appearance though, is that it leaves a trail of flames behind, as opposed to having a body that's on fire, as was the case in previous games. A similar case can be found with the Zol, a green blob which has quite frequently appeared in especially top-down titles, although they did miss out on the most recent A Link Between Worlds. Not only do they return in Echoes of Wisdom, 2 new variants are also added, known as the Hydrozol, which expands when soaking up water, and the Ignazol, which creates fire, and is an echo I'm willing to bet you saw plenty of times during your playthrough. But let's get back to some more obscure enemies, like the Bombfish. I actually thought this was a new enemy when I first saw it, until I started my research for this video and remembered it had previously appeared in Twilight Princess as well. I can forgive myself for that though, as they only appear in the Lake Bed Temple and some secret caves. That said, they also appear in Hyrule Warriors, so maybe I should be more ashamed. You be the judge of that. One enemy I definitely would consider forgettable though is the Moa. Just like their fellow One-Eye Aroroda, they had previously only appeared in Zelda 2, until Grezzo suddenly decided to bring them back. They fire beams out of their eye, but only to protect allies. When those are not around, it calms down. Another fun fact about the Moa is that in Zelda 2, touching it would not only make you lose HP, but also experience points, which I don't think any enemy has done since. We continue with the coldest Roomba in Hyrule, the Freezard. Their list of appearances isn't very long, but it does feature a good amount of prominent games like Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask and Twilight Princess. That said, their last showing was in Triforce Heroes, which does mean they haven't featured in a while. Their behavior has always really been the same, blowing cold air at differing intervals. Onto a rare duo of smaller variants of way more prominent enemies. First is the Baby Goma, smaller versions of the giant spider boss. While the boss is a pretty commonly found foe, its baby variant previously only appeared in Twilight Princess before Echoes of Wisdom also included them in its boss battle. Their ability to shoot webs is new though, they didn't do that in Twilight Princess. The other enemy this classification applies to is the Mini Moldorm. Just like Goma, Moldorms are commonly found in all kinds of Zelda games, but the miniature version is exclusive to a number of top-down Zeldas over the course of the series. Not a fan of their design personally, I find it a tad too goofy. Now, I don't want to waste your or my time, but I did promise you every enemy, and that includes names you're probably more than familiar with. So for another lightning round, we are quickly gonna cover every well-known enemy that makes another appearance in Echoes of Wisdom. Armos, Dark Nuts, and Ball and Chain Troopers are all commonly seen armored enemies. Dark Nuts are basically always actual knights, while Armos are a lot more varied, sometimes having wildly different looks. Ball and Chain Troopers are staples of the top-down games, but have yet to feature in one of the over-the-shoulder titles. The carnivorous plant that is the Deku Baba has not made a ton of appearances, but they're so prominent in Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time that I would still consider them pretty well known. Boss Blobs, these green electrified slimes, have also appeared in quite a good amount of 2D titles, which is also where the genie and the lever get their prominence from. Especially the latter doesn't exactly feel iconic or anything, but it has basically been ever present. The same thing applies to the Blade Trap, which admittedly has a bit of a rocky history in terms of it being a creature or not. It's a monster in Echoes of Wisdom though, so I'm counting it. Beamos have similarly walked the line between enemy and trap, but they are so prominent over the course of the series that I would wager you must have seen them before. Lynels are actually quite rare when looking over the Zelda franchise as a whole, but their appearance in the open world Switch games has been so prominent, I think it's safe to say they're a household name now. Peahats consistently shift between harmless plants and enemies, but in Echoes of Wisdom they're very much a threat, so they definitely qualify for this video. The duo of Redead and Gibdo in the undead department have frequently appeared together, and Echoes of Wisdom is no exception there, featuring both the zombies and the mummies in the Gerudo Desert as usual. And then we're getting to the enemies that are some of the most prominent in the entire franchise. Lizalfos, Keys, Wizrope, Tektites, Skulltulas, Poes, Moblins. Unless Echoes of Wisdom is your first Zelda game, you will be familiar with these. And then there's also the Octorok, which are actually called Octo in this game for unknown reasons, but are still very much the well-known enemy. One enemy that may feel incredibly common, but actually is not, is the Borblin. These variants from the Moblin Bokoblin family have previously only appeared on the original Game Boy, in Link's Awakening and the 2 Oracle titles, not counting any remakes for Link's Awakening of course. That said, they have on the Switch looked almost identical to Moblins, so the biggest difference nowadays appears to be the name. A connection between Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom is quite easily made, as we've also seen plenty of times in this video already, and we're about to see it again for the giant Goponga flower. What is noteworthy though, is that this had previously only appeared in Link's Awakening, making this only its second appearance in the Zelda series. They are even named after the Goponga swamps that can be found on Koholint Island, making it a little questionable why they have that name in Echoes of Wisdom as well, seeing as Koholint Island was entirely in Link's dreams. That said, its description mentions it is native to the Faron wetlands, hinting that this may actually be where Link came to know of them. Another connection between Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom can be found with the Goose Spectre. And these are honestly even more obscure, because they're only found in a color dungeon in that game, which was only included in Link's Awakening DX and the Switch remake, and not the Game Boy original. They're actually based on the Boo Blah enemies that appeared in Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Link's Awakening has also previously featured Sparks, which do have a more lengthy history in top-down Zeldas as well. That said, these electric balls haven't appeared in a new game since Spirit Tracks on the DS, so it's still been a while for them. Zero, the bizarre flying mushroom things, were also present in Link's Awakening, but did also have a more recent reappearance in A Link Between Worlds. However, those 2 games and A Link to the Past are the only games they had appeared in prior to Echoes of Wisdom, which also brought along a new variant called the Gyro. While Zeros drop bombs, Gyros blow wind. That's how things have been divided in the Eero community. Only 3 more to go, first being the Mothula. These have a weird history in the series, first appearing in A Link to the Past. Then, they'd only appear in Oracle of Seasons, not Ages, making a more prominent showing in the Wind Waker as a mini-boss, a role it would reprise in Spirit Tracks. After that, it got completely quiet, before Echoes of Wisdom brought it back, along with a stronger version with different colors and more power. Another airborne enemy is the Gwei, which has a short but prominent resume, appearing in the 2 Nintendo 64 Zeldas, Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword. Their appearance in Echoes of Wisdom is based on their first two looks though, when they were purple, while on the two titles available on Wii, they're black and just kinda look like crows or ravens. They're found in the skies above Hyrule Field in Echoes, which was also the case in Twilight Princess. And finally we have the Beery, a jellyfish with electrical capabilities. They were quite common in the early days, appearing in Ocarina of Time, A Link to the Past and Oracle of Ages, but since have only featured in A Link Between Worlds. How these work is that the Beery is a smaller component of the larger Bari, which also appears in Echoes of Wisdom as a hidden boss and not an enemy. And with that, we have covered every single enemy in Echoes of Wisdom. Which one do you love summoning as an Echo? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like and subscribing to the channel to stay updated on all my future Zelda content coming up. For now, thanks for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.